going to play slightly the wrong devil's advocate. I agree with that. I think the one slight problem with it is that in a democratic society, you have to, at some point, somebody has to make a decision about what point something stops being just a discussion of a threat and starts being a real threat. And although I disagree with what the Austrians and the Germans have done in sort of saying Holocaust denial is criminal, you can understand that the drive to do that is they believe that that propagation of that idea will lead to a danger and a threat to the society that has been proven before. If you were able to suggest the idea of it being okay to discriminate against Jews, or the Jews weren't in fact murdered, then that actually begins to legitimise the whole process and therefore the whole debate. What I think is important to stress is that while that's wrong, there is a kind of always has to be a messy solution in democracies, in open societies. That at some point somebody, or the society as a whole, has to say, actually, beyond this point, you cross the line from talking and discussing to planning or wanting or seeking something to happen. And that point's not clear. There's no straight line to say, oh, that's thought, and so that's okay. And then this point, that's planning. And often you've got to make a very difficult judgment about when somebody crosses over from going to meetings where they're discussing planting bombs and the theory behind planting bombs to actually the proposal to plant a bomb. And if you you know, if I think about the BNP bomber who bombed the Admiral Duncan, then he, you know, the environment in which he was brought up in wasn't one where people were saying, yes, let's go off and do this. It was one that gradually encouraged this and then created the environment. So that it's going to be a messy compromise. And I think the virtue of what Orwell says, and the virtue of the debate is actually that messy compromise is good. It's the clear lines you should be afraid of. It's that this is definite and that's allowed and this isn't allowed. It's when you're having the debate about, well, actually, I'm not sure that this person should be prosecuted, that a sign probably society's healthier than you might think it is.
Yeah, but even before you've got to discussion, let alone action, you know, I must drag this back to the whole question of thoughts, if you don't mind. I mean, it seems to be quite reasonable that for any belief system, any society, to address itself to people's thoughts, you know, and to actually working on the individual at the level of what they think. I mean, this government is often doing that in terms of, and it's not just this government. I'm not picking on a bunch of people when they're down, you know, but all governments have tended to, and what it's called is changing attitudes. They say, oh, we have to change people's attitudes about X, Y, and Z. Now, I can go around, you know, and have a bigoted thought, and you know, hopefully not act upon it. And I think in religion, for example, I think a thought crime is understood not as with that word, but as guilt. And I think that political correctness, for example, is it absolutely delineates thought crime. I mean, that is in our contemporary society. I think that that is the hot area of thought crime for us, is political correctness.
Well, yes.
You're a thought criminal. You're a blogger. So if you're not a thought criminal, you shouldn't. I'm tempted to kind of list all the things that I do that are completely kind of wrong and immoral by the standards of society. And I think one of the interesting things about technology is that, you know, we kind of, if you think about the wire and sort of the telescreen and things like that, they're impositions by the state on people. Whereas you think about what we're doing in sort of, you know, people are doing on blogs or in websites or on Twitter, you know, things like that, they're willingly embracing the ability to express their own opinions, and then at the back of your mind is always the conscious awareness that somebody's going to trace all this, that all this information is, you know, all the bad opinions or the stupid jokes, or I heard a fantastic tasteless joke about Michael Jackson before that, which I'm very tempted to share online, and then you sort of know that's always going to be traced back to you. It can always be kind of related back, so you've always got this sense that someone could be watching at some time, but you've chosen to do that, so are you really being thoughtful? But to come back to your point about political correctness is kind of the problem of the reform and the progressive of wanting things to be better than they are, and people to be better than they necessarily are. But it's you know, whenever people go on about political correctness, I just come back to think, well, it's not actually that bad. I mean, compared to a society where people are really being told not what to think or what to say, political correctness is kind of like a parody of thought crime. It's kind of, oh no, you shouldn't say that word, or you shouldn't say this word.
It's not really a crime.
Yeah, it's a kind of it's thought jaywalking.